Now, it's all very well having an iPhone 4 or 4S, gorgeous premium device, iPhone 5 similar, any of the modern big touchscreen slabs, glass front and back. Every time I walk out with something like this in my hand, I'm afraid that I am going to drop it. I'm afraid it's going to be smashed beyond redemption. So what's the solution? Well, one is to have a case. It takes away the premium feel, but you are fully protected. And if you're going to go for a case, go for the biggest and best. This is the OtterBox ARMOR series. I don't know whether this is the official retail pack. Basically, the marketing says the toughest case ever built. So let's have a look. Opening it up. Have you ever seen such big packaging for a phone case? It's just insane. Talking about watertight latches, patented O-ring technology, non-permeable membranes and protective mesh layers. Let's try and get it out. There we have the iPhone 4 or 4S in its OtterBox ARMOR case. It's pretty darn chunky, about twice the thickness, if not more. Buttons to press through on the appropriate controls. We have these plug-in port covers here for data, and audio really quite firmly pushed in there with rubber seals. And the whole thing is shockproof, dustproof and waterproof, so let's put it to the test. And I have to say that's just about the most robust case I've ever reviewed. It makes for the iPhone 4 and 4S twice as chunky, but I mean, that's just 6 feet underwater for 30 minutes. You can drive over it with a 2-ton vehicle without damage. I barely managed to scratch the case itself. They do this for the iPhone 5 and Galaxy S3 as well. So if you're heading into a war zone or a herd of elephants is about to attack you, or you're just going hiking or mountain biking, I can recommend the OtterBox ARMOR. Stand back from your monitor, I've got a horrible cold, but I'm going to cheer myself up with this. I know, I said I was going to give Windows Phone 8 coverage a break for a short while, but the arrival of the stunningly good value Lumia 620 changed my mind, though I will keep this quite brief. You see, at £10 a month on contract in the UK, £150 on pay-as-you-go and around £200 SIM-free, I think Nokia has found the perfect niche. Top-end devices like the Lumia 920 here, they impress with their technology and their cameras and so on, but they struggle in the market against the likes of the Google Nexus 4, HTC Butterfly and Samsung Galaxy S3, and soon to be 4, of course. While some of Nokia's ultra-budget experiments have involved RAM or storage crippling to the point where the user gets impacted. But in the middle, the space where many of the Symbian handsets from Nokia used to live, there's definitely a place for a smartphone which is powerful, fast and responsive, yet ultra-friendly to smartphone newbies. And this description is the Lumia 620. It feels great, it looks great, it runs Windows Phone 8 just as well as units 2 or 3 times the price. I think I can skip over most of the software facets here since you all know them well already. There's Nokia's usual armoury of add-on apps, from sat-nav to proxy-based web browsing to ebooks to exclusive games, definitely the most complete app set of any of the Windows Phone manufacturers. However, the hardware and package as a whole are what's interesting here. Grippy, replaceable soft touch backs, including the shocking yellow version, interestingly including the entire headphone jack assembly. I guess if you're in the habit of snagging your cable and breaking such a jack, then simply ordering a new back cover and getting a new connector is going to be quite handy. The screen's 3.8 inches and WVGA with Nokia's usual clear black display polarizers, meaning that the LCD display stays visible in most light conditions outdoors, and you do get the nail and glove friendly super sensitive touch system as on the top models. I do think that Nokia could have squeezed in a 4-inch screen by reducing this bottom bezel, but I guess they were hampered by screen aspect ratio considerations here. The colours never really get close to those of AMOLED on the likes of the old Nokia Lumia 800, for example, but everything's still very usable. Text and content is generally smaller than on the larger Windows Phone 8 devices, but you can compensate on the whole by upping the text size in the accessibility settings. And anyway, I'm quite sure the target market has better eyesight than me. Under the hood is a dual-core 1 gigahertz processor and 512 megabytes of RAM, which is basically fine for anything on this particular mobile OS. In fact, aside from the smaller screen, it's hard to see where Nokia has compromised here. There are still all the usual staples, including GPS with GLONASS, NFC, Bluetooth 3, plenty of sensors, noise cancellation on calls. You get the idea. There's a full 8 gigabyte system disk too, so you won't run out of room for apps, games and their data, while you can stick in up to 64 gigabytes on microSD for larger media. Rock on. The smaller size has meant a smaller battery, mind you. 1300 milliamp hours doesn't sound a lot, but A, you can swap it out if you have to, and again, B, for the target market, it'll be fine. No one's going to be browsing for hours or watching feature films on this thing. Talking of films, playback from microSD was just fine, as here, with a nice loudspeaker too. Again, I wonder why HTC, LG and Samsung rarely get speakers right on their flagship. Shut up! The camera is very good considering the phone's price. Here are some samples. Sorry I couldn't arrange some sunny examples in the UK winter. Video capture tops out at 720p, but there is continuous autofocus and you get Nokia's high amplitude audio recording microphones for a gig level, rich recording as we saw on the Nokia 808 and 920. The Android competition at this sub £200 price point may have slightly larger screens, but the 620 is more polished and more solid in terms of across-the-board functionality. I say again, there are almost no compromises here. If you can live with a 3.8-inch screen and don't need the best camera in the world, then the Lumia 620 is a stunningly and consistently good device to introduce someone to the world of smartphones. And yes, it's cheered me up. Oh yes, a postscript. This is the HTC 8S, almost identical in specification to the Nokia Lumia 620. I was going to do a head-to-head to show which would win in each area and deliver an overall verdict, but I'm afraid this has a crippling flaw so bad that I can't even review it. Now this is going to sound crazy, but if I scroll down the application list, there is an application called, and I kid you not, Make More Space. Have a guess what that does. You see, out of the box, this has as its internal drive, its internal system disk, 1.2 gigabytes free. That's got to be in Windows Phone for all your applications, all your games, all the game's data, all your downloaded maps, all your documents, space for the operating system. You're going to run out in week 1. This is absolutely crazy. The 8S is completely unusable. How HTC's product team let this one out the door, I will never know. Highly unrecommended. The exact opposite of the Lumia 620. This is the HTC 8S. Avoid.